Good morning, Service Alliance community. How y'all doing today? What's up, brother?
Morning. Morning, Zach. It's Monday, man.
It is.
You ever see those videos, or maybe you've experienced that at the time in your life when you're out in wilderness and a wild animal comes up to you and you have to use a strategy to keep them distracted, but keep an eye on them and just try to do your best to control the situation, even though you have no control against a wild animal? You know that. You've seen those videos, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, this past weekend, just this whole last couple of days, I didn't experience that, but I used that strategy with my wife. So we were able to get through one more weekend without setting up Christmas. I was able to use distractions and shiny things, like, hey, you want to go here? Do you want to do that? Like there's a couple projects around the house she wanted me to do. And I was like, hey, would you like me to do that? And then, she would like hint around about Christmas, but I'm halfway through the project that I'm working on. So I was like, that's a great one for next weekend, maybe. And she's like, okay. So I was able to save Thanksgiving from Christmas this past weekend.
Good man. Good man. Now, when it's 32 degrees and snowing next week and you're having to put Christmas decorations up outside, you're going to be like, you know what, Vale? Why didn't you make me put these Christmas lights up sooner?
I didn't think of that. Damn, Zach. We're friends, but we need to stay friends on the weekend too, all right?
Well, here's the thing. I'm going to be kicking myself because I push back against it, and the 60-degree weekend was gone, and now it's going to be cold and snowing. So,
yeah, that's true. Well, maybe we won't do outdoor lights. That's all.
Screwed that one up. Oh no, I can't get away from that. I got an 8-year-old, man. Like there's no getting out of it. So my butt's going to be up there freezing. Yeah. It's a good thing I've been a roofer this last year, and I don't know where I was going with that, but.
Well, we have like a 18-foot, 20-foot snowman. So that kind of helps you stick that in the yard. I try to make that like a long time process. And I'll say, is that enough? And, it's usually, I'm going to see this year. I have a strategy. I think I'm going to win. I think I'm going to win this year at Christmas time.
So apparently we just need to give you the title of Master of Negotiations, because you spend your entire life negotiating with your wife.
With everyone, actually, at work, at home, sometimes even with myself. But
it's a great person to lead this topic today. Good morning.
I think Marion's giving me some shame.
Yeah, well,
what's going on there? Sometimes working harder to avoid something out of principle, Marion, is just it's worth the extra work, because I don't appreciate that the retail world has pushed Christmas on us so fast, man. It was out around Halloween, man. A lot of pressure this year. A lot of pressure.
Well, if you go to the craft stores, yeah, you're right. It definitely is out about Halloween, but that's because
Thanksgiving.
They all have to make it.
Yeah, I hear you.
I mean, my wife works at Michael's, and so she's putting out Christmas for 2 months.
Yeah.
So good morning, Gary. Good morning, Dr. Dan. Good morning, Marion. Good morning, Brandon, EJ, Garrison, Mike, and Eric. Glad to have you guys along. You guys are the ones that have dropped comments, so we're glad to see you. We're talking fairness versus profitability in the realm of negotiations. So how do we
that word fairness, which I hear a lot? That's a loaded statement. Us being mindset people, I'll tell you, when we start thinking that we're trying to be fair, that gets us in a slippery area that is probably not the most healthiest way to look at your business. So I'm looking forward to diving into this one today.
I'm going to date a couple of us, and that's okay. I mean, I'm already rocking this one.
There it is.
So why not just throw it back more? Every time I hear someone say fairness and I hear the context in which they're using it, Princess Bride pops into my head. I do not think that word means what you think that word means.
Right. Yep.
Drives me crazy. But anyway, so really here's the thing. We are negotiating every time we go into a customer home. You may be using Blue Book pricing. You may already be set. I'm probably the only weirdo here who truly has to negotiate on price and service. But you're still negotiating.
Mm-hmm.
You're trying to get the sale. And so we're going to kind of talk about that today. How do we set this up ahead of time so that we have done the right thing? We are taking care of people first, knowing that profits will follow by taking care of people first. So we're going to kind of talk about how to help our teams, help ourselves improve when we're in these moments. Because whether you like it or not, you're all salespeople and you have to sell when you're in the home. And negotiation is part of that. So we're going to talk about that today. Pray us up, Brother Doug, because I think you're the only one here that's great at negotiating with everyone.
Oh, Lord God, you have given us everything that we can see, touch, feel, hear. Lord, you are the creator of all. And so, Lord, give us that heart of gratitude to appreciate that you've provided everything that we need. Help us with our heart and mindset, Lord, as we live life. Help us stay humble and remember that, yes, we work for things, but that you ultimately provide them for us. God, give us that heart of gratitude. Give us that heart of patience, and help us remember to surrender every decision in our lives, in our businesses, to you first. Let you be the filter that that everything, our businesses, our family, and our thoughts and minds, all those things filter through you, thanks to the gift of the Holy Spirit. God, help us be a light to the world, a reflection of your eternal life, Lord. And as we talk about planning ahead and focusing in the business world, in which we need to do that, we need to plan ahead, that ultimately our eternal perspective, that forever and ever with you, is our ultimate goal. And so, God, help us understand eternity as we run a business, as we own a business, as we lead and care for people in the community and our employees. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Yeah, well, I figured this one was coming.
It is subjective for sure.
It truly is. It truly is a subjective word.
You know, it for the first words, I think, is wow, it's Monday morning. First word is value, right? If we're not focusing firstly on high value to our customers, then it's going to be hard to understand our pricing and to be fair, right? So are we doing that? Are we offering incredible value each and every time we go out to the house? I know I have 18 techs, Zach, so that's a really hard thing to duplicate and assure and guarantee that happens all the time, right? So that's where I think we should start. What do you know about yourself and your company, and what are you offering your customers? And can you duplicate that? Can you make sure that the people on your team, whether they're answering the phone or going in the customer's home, are doing their best to give the customer everything that you offer? Because that's where you're going to build your price point on. That's how you're going to brand your business. That's the promises you're going to make to your customers. And so you have to make sure your team is on board with that to the best of their ability, right?
Yeah, when we think of negotiation, I don't think we think that far back. We should. Mm-hmm. I don't think we always think that far backwards, though, because it really does. It starts with from the minute that phone rings and your team answers that phone and starts talking to the customer. That's where the value needs to start and carry all the way through, even into the warranty process, right? You have to have that value all the way through. And so if you want to win at the negotiation, if you want both parties to walk away happy, right? Because that is winning in the case of service, is that both people involved, you as the servicer and the customer, feel like they won.
That's
where
the
it
goal.
starts.
That's the goal. Yeah, I had a friend, and he was my boss for a little while. And when he first came on, he said, "There's no such thing as common sense." And I go, "That doesn't make any sense. Of course, there's common sense, right?" And he goes, "Well, that's setting those people up that you're assuming should know. You're setting them up for failure." And so again, you own your business. You were out there taking care of your customers as a one-man show. You've set the bar high for yourself, and then you bring people on. If you don't tell them the beginning story and what the objective is here, then an example would be this. The technician looks at his next call, front loading washer, making a loud banging noise, tub is loose. You know what that employee could be thinking? "Oh, this is great, a quick one, because I got that long job after that, and then I have to drive really far, a 45-minute ride to the next one, and I'm going to be out late. This is going to be one that's going to get me back on track." In your van, there should be some sort of like yellow, red light, alert, alert, alert. We've got a problem here. If a technician starts to think that way, because they're going to go in the house with that same approach. They're going to walk up to the lady and go, "Yeah," shake the tub and go, "Yeah, there's nothing we can do here. I mean, we can, but it's going to be really expensive. You probably don't want to fix it." And you're now done in 42 seconds, and you have to collect a service fee. There's no way that that customer is going to see the value of what you do. And so you have to set your employee up for success. Let them know, hey, this isn't going to probably be a repair, but understand I've given this time frame of about 30 minutes at least per house. So it's time to look around. It's time to ask questions. It's time to find out what the future of the customer and the kitchen is, and if they're moving or sticking around, is there anything I can look at? And now we're starting to add value. And if you own your own business, what would you rather have $100 service fee or a $250 dryer clean out because the dishwasher isn't getting fixed? You'd take that. But what's an employee? What may they think? Well, this is cool. This would be a quick one. I can get out. So who's at fault there? Is anyone at fault?
Well, if you haven't set the expectations, then you're at fault.
There you go. There you go.
That's where it comes back to, right?
A script for your technicians, not to follow exactly, but a script of a checklist of expectations each and every time you go in a customer's home. That's pretty critical, I think, to start at the beginning, and then we'll move on quickly. But that's where you can't discuss anything else until that expectation is similar on the same page with your employees.
Well, let's follow that vein, because some of our audience, I guarantee, is asking themselves right now, well, we're using Blue Book pricing. Like, our pricing set, like, we're not negotiating with these people. What are you two idiots talking about this morning? You're negotiating the repair. So let's talk about one that is a repairable product, but maybe the pricing seems crazy. Because you know what, I can go out. Let's use the dishwasher. I can go out and I can get a new dishwasher for $565 from Lowe's right now. No problem. And you're telling me that it's going to be $420 to fix my dishwasher? That doesn't make any sense. I'm just going to go buy that new one.
Yep.
But what are the hidden costs that are not included in that $565 dishwasher at Lowe's, right?
Right.
You're probably going to have to wait a week. Despite what they say, you're probably going to have to wait a week before someone can come out and deliver it. We know that quality control isn't the greatest thing. And so there's a high chance that machine's coming into your house and it ain't working. It's at least a 50-50 chance that brand new dishwasher is going to come into your house and it's not working. And then you're going to have to wait for either them to come back and service it, or if they bounce it off to factory service, then you have to wait for factory service to come, which could be another week to 2 weeks, depending on the factory service in your area. So now all of a sudden that pricing comparison is lopsided, and you as the technician were like, yeah, you know what, you're right. Go ahead, go to Lowe's. Just go buy that new machine.
Yeah.
Maybe that wasn't the right choice for the customer. So where does the negotiation come in? It comes in you educating the customer
Right.
on the hidden costs, either direction, right?
Well, I think sometimes the word negotiation comes down to price in our heads. Like,
Mhm.
okay, so we have to negotiate the cost of this repair. But those things that you mentioned, those are just educational points, not to force. By the way, I used to be very
Not forced.
paranoid. Like, there's some things that the way you said it, I didn't. I was always paranoid that they would think that I'm trying to squash whatever objection they have in not fixing it. And so I started to teach some of the techs that I was training is if you use the word but at any time during this educational moment, whether they know it or not, the but automatically creates a defensiveness inside of me. Like, so when I'm leaving Costco and I've already got solar, but the damn solar guy is trying to pitch me on solar, and and I'm like, no, I'm all set, thank you so much. And he's like, yeah, but, and then he goes into this, and then I go, listen, I have solar already. Yeah, but do you know what you, and I was like, what is he doing? Like, why is, and the word but can get me just, sort of focused on trying to argue. So here's the deal. Help them decide. Give them the information and ask them meaningful questions. How about, used to ask this all the time. So would you be upset if this appliance that we fixed today broke in the next 5 years? They might say no, because I'm planning to move to Florida by then. There you go, a new piece of information that she or he didn't share with me, but it came out, and it's an aha moment for both of us. Oh, wait a minute. So you're actually planning to put the house on the market? Yeah. Well, then obviously the lowest priced option is the best for you. Or is it better to have a newer dishwasher to sell your house? Right. And now you're down another road. And then,
here's the counterpoint to that, though, Doug. You just asked, would you be upset if this machine that we repaired broke down in the next 5 years? Because more than likely that machine's not going to break down for the next 5 years once we put the repair in, right?
It depends. If it's already a 4-year-old unit, Zach.
Yeah, but it's still a pretty high probability that in the next 5 years, once we put a repair in, we're not going to be back on that same machine. I'd say it's at least a 70-30. 70% we ain't coming back, 30% we are. What are the odds on a brand new machine having to be serviced in that same 5 year time span?
Yeah. Well, it's the same, in my opinion. It's potentially the same. If I'm on a Maytag Dependable Care washer, once I'm done and I change the belts on top of it, I'm not coming back. But yeah, anything that's semi-modern, Zach, I think it's got the same shot at it. The question is which one would the customer be more bitter with? Would you be upset if you bought a new one and it broke in 5 years or less? Well, hell yeah. Well, all right. And it's just an honest dialogue that you're having with your customers. And so I don't even know. I mean, I know there's opportunity. There's situations where customer doesn't want to talk and they need you out of the house as fast as possible. They want to know and you're done. But for the most part, they're looking for a conversation. They're looking for an education. They're looking for help in deciding. So how can you do that in less than 30 minutes?
The biggest part of negotiation is that you're the professional and they are not.
That's right.
Why do you think you get hosed at the car dealership? Because those guys spend nothing but all of their time on becoming the best negotiators possible.
Right.
You get hosed.
Yep.
Now, our objective as home service professionals is not to hose the customer, but it is our job to be professional in everything that we do. And so we should be able to give professional opinions, professional objective data to the customer. And if we're not doing that, then we're not doing our job. That is our part of the negotiation, is really more an education piece. right? Negotiation doesn't have to be, I'm going to pay this price. No, I want to pay this price. No, you're going to pay this price. It doesn't have to be that. Part
That's
of
right.
negotiation is educating people, right?
And so if we can get that down well in our company, that all the people that represent you are doing that to the best of their ability and getting better, now we can focus on actual price and fairness. And it doesn't matter what your competitor's charging. It doesn't even matter what the price of a new one costs to a degree. You need to know the cost of doing business so that you can stick around.
Mm-hmm.
And then you need to get your profit margin on top of that. There's no way around it. You will be out of business if you don't charge the price that you need to charge to be in business. Now you could say, well, I don't need much profit because I feel like the way the price of new machines are and the economy and all that jazz, that I'll lose on. I don't mind just taking just a tiny bit of profit. How long are you going to sustain that? 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years? 6 years from now, your knee starts to hurt and you can't put out 8 to 10 calls a day anymore.
Mm-hmm.
What have you set yourself up for success? Unless you have a lot of money in the bank, you probably can't afford to be that generous,
Mm-hmm.
that giving of just making 2%, 3%, 4% profit. Your part of your profit margin is your retirement.
Mm-hmm.
You need to calculate that in there and you need to get it. So what happens, Zach, if you need a certain price plus your profit for today to pay your bills and to retire, not loaded rich, but retire comfortably as a small business owner, what do you do if that price point is being challenged and pushed by Home Depot pricing currently here in 2024, or a lot of competitors in town? What do you do to sell the jobs? What do you do in the time of negotiation?
I use the term aggravation dollars.
Aggravation dollars.
I heard once to sell a customer on the convenience I'm selling. Yeah, and that goes back to Saul's comment. Would you be upset if I fixed your machine and have you back up like nothing ever happened? Good stuff. It's good stuff. No, I mean to your point, we don't compete against Home Depot, right? Home Depot, they find the cheapest people, pay them the least amount of money to go out and service the customer. As small businesses in the Service Alliance group, in the Appliance Alliance group, you guys are going out and you are providing value and a service to the customers that they can't get anywhere else.
Mm-hmm.
You're taking care of the customers knowing that profit will follow. We're Home Depot, Lowe's, all those companies, right? Because they're driven by shareholders. That's their job is to make money. So everything is profit driven. We can still be a profitable company, but do it with a better level of service all day long. So,
but that's a subjective term too, Zach. A better level of service. So here's the only time I think that we need to be conscious of our competitors and those forces that push against what we do. Know what they offer and make sure that what you offer is just as good or better. That's all. So if Home Depot's weakness is that it's going to take 7 to 10 days to get the refrigerator in and delivered, then your value point would be that, I'll tell you what, I will overnight air the part and be back in 2 days. So what's that going to cost you extra? Let's say it's not local. Let's say it's more than 1 day out, and it's a Wednesday afternoon. Make it happen. Or if it's Thursday, Offer to go out Saturday morning and put the part in and overnight air it. You're coughing up $25 for shipping if need be, but you're promising if I could get you up and running by the weekend, how would you like to go ahead with the repair? Sure, absolutely. So counter sell or counter offer the value of what Home Depot would do, and try not to add but in there. Oh, okay. So you love that French door refrigerator, at Home Depot. And yes, you're absolutely right. Prices are down $1,400 for a French door. That used to be 2,000 like a year ago. So it is a great time to buy new, but you've got no cooling. So let's talk about this French door you have here. What are some of the other issues you have with it? Not a lot. I got that one broken shelf, and a little bit of rust over here or something like that. So, all right, tell you what, let me look up that shelf. My cost is 24. It retails for 50. I'll tell you, I'll sell you the shelf at cost. I'll get you some touch-up paint. I'll get that ice maker. Let's get it installed. And I bet you I can get it done by Monday. What do you think about that? Right? So no, that's the only time I think you need to care about your competition is to make sure that whatever you do it just as good or better. And then that's where your focus on your competition ends. And then you just stick to being a world-class service for yourself.
I love what Saul says here. Would you like to do the repair? Switch that phrasing. I'm, again, being mindset people. Words matter. I have this day open to do the repair. When would you like me to schedule you in?
Absolutely.
You're taking a little bit of an assumption there, but you're also leading with your professionalism, your experience, your expertise. You're leading by saying, I have this day open to do the repair. When would you like me to schedule you in? Mm-hmm. You're hinting that this really is the way to go. Like this is one of the better options. Let me help you.
Now Saul's an upright guy and he's a high moral person. And for sure, let's make sure we're not trying to say that we need to make our technicians into the slickest salesmen out there. We're just talking about the repairs that could be and should be fixed. Mm-hmm. That most people, a lot of them would say, yeah, that makes sense to me. And try not to put your own perspective in it because, we know a lot more about the industry that can make our decision-making a little more complex, but, do not start to decide for your customers what you think is worth fixing or not. Because there's another avenue where you're losing potential repairs. And believe it or not, the customer, when you're done, they've got a neutral opinion or maybe slightly frustrated. Like he wouldn't even quote me for the compressor. We get those calls a lot, actually. A few times a month, people will call and go, we had a company out, it said it needed a sealed system repair, and they wouldn't quote me. And we're like, oh, what's the name of the company? Oh, they do sealed system repairs. They didn't quote you. Why didn't they quote you? They just said it wasn't worth fixing. Now, of those 6 to 10 we get a month, 3 of them say yes. And 3, once they hear the price, go, no, that doesn't make any sense. But we gave them more information. We were willing to help them on this journey from beginning to end. So certainly do not impose your opinions on your customers. That's a problem.
The way that I like to say it is stop spending your customers' money with your pocketbook. Stop thinking with your wallet, right, for your customers. Because your customers may see more value in paying $1,400 for a sealed system repair versus having to go out and buy a new machine.
Right.
So stop spending your customers' money with your own wallet. Like, give them the best information possible. Give them the best options possible. Mm-hmm. And let them choose. You've done your job as a service professional. They're going to choose the best option. And more often than not, it's going to be going with you doing a repair. More often than not.
the number one thing that came out of reading Tommy Mello's book was the word options, and how unfair it is as a customer to not be presented with all the options. For a company to not have many options, or one option only, that is limiting yourself as a business to offer high value. So offering all the, what the other thing with offering all the options does? It goes back to Saul's way of sales. Okay. Again, we only do this when machines could be or should be fixed, but a dryer with a broken belt, offering to repair just the belt, or with the maintenance kit, you're now eliminating, right? It's a classic sales approach here. You're not asking them, would you like to fix the dryer today? You're saying it's $300 to replace the belt, or it's $379 or $400 for the whole maintenance kit. Which one sounds more up? Like, which one do you think you'd like to do? And now you're offering options, and you're not saying, would you like to fix it or not? So I don't know. I can't think of the last time, even when I'm offering customer satisfaction to a customer's upset, I'm never just offering them one thing. I'm saying, which would be better for you? Which would you prefer? This money back or an extended warranty? And that gives people options, and it helps them. It makes them realize that we are here for them to try to offer the best solutions.
Yeah, this is your point here. Tommy Mello made a great point when he said, when you don't give options, you're giving an ultimatum. And really, when we know that these service calls are a negotiation, it's a terrible point to give an ultimatum, right? Like, you shouldn't be giving customers ultimatums. You should be giving them options, right?
Right.
Right. Yeah, it's a tool to help remove customer pushback. And again, you have to go from the point of taking care of people first, and profits are going to follow. If you are just doing this from a point of, I need to make money, and so I'm going to push my customers into this, you got it backwards. You got to flip that around. You have to take care of people first, and then the profits are going to follow. So anytime we're doing this approach only works if we're doing it from a place of wanting to take care of people first.
Mm-hmm. So, and if you have employees, if you have technicians that feel like it would be like offering a repair on a machine they think isn't worth repairing, is a bad thing. It's offensive. It's wrong. And they have this high, in their book, a high moral ground, then they're missing the point on the purpose of your business, and they might not be a good fit. So you have people who objectively don't want to sell. They just like to be mechanics. Mm-hmm. They like to fix things. That's great in the warranty world. But when you're there as a COD customer, a COD company trying to help a customer with a 25-year-old, a 10-year-old, or a 3-year-old appliance, it's the same thing. You need to go through this thing and offer them all the options. If they're not, if they're pushing back, I'm telling you, that employee is going to hold your business back. Right now, today's the first day, I've hired a sales manager. I've hired a manager to oversee the sales of Action Appliance. Now, we do sell appliances, but I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the 18 technicians who people call us because we've been around since 1961. We have, over 1,000 reviews. People know us. They trust us. And I need those technicians to go in and to be trained well to present all the options and have the right mindset. And then if they don't, and they don't want to change, they don't want to grow, it's too expensive. It's too expensive to run a tech and have them go do 6 to 8 calls and only service half of them or less than half of them. If they're done by 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, and they've gone through 5 calls, you are burning cash so bad. But even worse, the worst part of all is those customers got the crappiest of service. In and out, price. Do you want to fix it or not? No? Okay, have a good day. Sign here. Sucky work. So the money, as you started this thing, will follow. The profit will follow if your team is doing everything the right way, which is going in, making a connection, building a relationship with the customer. That takes 5 to 10 minutes. You might be able to do both, diagnose and make the connection with the dog and the customer, and show them that you know your stuff. And then when you're done diagnosing it, offering them the different options of repair, right? And whether they fix it or not, when they're done, you're handing them a business card and you're saying, the good news is when you call us, I'll always be your guy. Handshake. Thank you, James. I hope I don't see you, but if I do, I know you're going to take care of me, whether you fixed it or not. And so if you think putting a technician on commission is going to solve all your problems, it might for some. It might be out there. But if they're hungry and trying to sell everything, that's a scary thing, right? They're out for themselves. But if they're out there going, when a machine could be or should be fixed, and I'm going to offer them all the options that the company has to offer, and they do their due diligence, it's a win for the customer, it's a win for the technician who's on commission, and it's a win for the company. But anything less than that, are you rich enough? Does your company have enough money in the bank to keep a mediocre technician around who's got an attitude or feels like, I don't want to pressure anybody into anything, and just kind of mumbles their way through it? I don't know that you do. And so it is difficult. And so that means you have to spend time investing in that technician and teaching them a mindset that hopefully they'll have the ability to develop their own script. But ultimately, you should be giving them an expectation bullet point list. I expect you to be on time. I expect you to make a connection. I expect you to diagnose it thoroughly. I expect you to offer all the options. I expect you to protect their house when you do the work. I expect you to test the product when it's done in front of the customer whenever possible. I expect you to give a leave behind and give your business card to them. That's what I expect. And if they're willing to do that, again, it's going to be a win for everyone. But if they're not willing to do that, spend a little time. And if it's not working out, cut your losses and move on. You know, right person, right seat. That's pretty critical, I think.
I want to come back to this comment real quick as we're wrapping up. On the profitability front, I'm yet to adopt Blue Book despite being too recently. It's the only way to go. What's the consensus? So as far as Blue Book pricing goes, every industry has some standard of pricing, right? So even the roofing industry, Xactimate is the standard. Xactimate sets the ranges for an area for what the price of a roof is going to be. Mm-hmm. Now, just like that, Blue Book sets a set of ranges for a particular industry, right, across the board. And you can find yourself on a sliding scale within that range. Just because it says you have to charge $496 for that repair doesn't mean you have to charge $496 for that repair, but it gives you that kind of range of where you should be price wise, right? Instead of just guessing, instead of just making it up, right? The manufacturers have a pretty good idea of what their parts cost and what the time involved in doing these repairs is. And so if you can give the customers a fair range of pricing, you're setting them up for success and you're setting yourself up for success, right?
It's a guideline, but it also holds you and your team accountable, because you charge your neighbor one price, and then you half a year later go to their neighbor's house and you give them a deal because you're just ripping it off the top of your head.
Yep.
You know, you have to be consistent. Here's the thing about Blue Book Online, or forget Blue Book Online. You need to make sure every single job is quoted to the current price of that
Mhm.
part on the day that you're in the house.
Yep.
Control board price can go up $20, $50 before you realize it. So with the online Blue Book, right, that feature, it's going to automatically change the price of the repair, reflecting on price. But here's Saul, right? I mean, before Blue Book electronic, every single part number went through Marcone, and I was always using the Marcone retail to the labor code in Blue Book. So like that, prices can change, and you're undercharging for 2 weeks, 2 months, even a year.
Mhm.
You need to stay on top of your pricing. And by all means, if the industry standard is $494, Zach, you better quote the $494 at least a few times before you decide that seems
Sure.
too high. You're crazy. You're crazy.
Sure.
I don't, I've said this before on these grinds. How many times I've drove up to a house and the yard is unkept and the screen door is laying next to the front door and the doorbell doesn't work and there's a broken lawnmower in the yard and the door opens and already I've decided they're either poor or cheapskates. And so I already know it needs a bake igniter, and walking into the house, and they said they already tried to look online. I'm like, oh gosh. So now I just lowball that thing because it's 3:00 and I got 2 to go, and I don't want to deal with negotiating with cheapskates. And instead of the $350, I go, I can do it for you right now for $279. And they're like, that's a deal. Go for it. And I'm turning around, walking to my van, going, son of a bitch. I just did it again. I undervalued myself. Don't skip the script. Quote the price. Let them respond. And then you react. You don't react by lowering your price. You react by making sure you've emphasized, if you haven't done it already, the value of your business. Well, we've been around for 20 years. The part has got this blank of a warranty. And if you have any problems, I'll come back. How does that sound? Go for it. How does that sound? It's still a lot. What if I took the $25 coupon off? It's a little better. All right. Well, so is it a deal? All right. I'll tell you what. I'll take another $25 off. I can't go much lower because then I'm going to have to take away the warranty. It's going to be like a tail light thing. No, I don't want. I want the warranty. You want the warranty? Great. So if I take another $25 off, so that's $50 off the $350. Are we good with the repair today? Absolutely. All right. You did your duty. You have to go through the process. Otherwise, you're going to be giving up all your money because you're assuming things. Well, that's up in Massachusetts, Paul. In Connecticut, more people don't get tips.
Well, that's what we got for you today, guys. I do want to leave you with one last one. My second time around. Never split the difference. Never split the difference. Great book on negotiation. Go check it out. Go learn something, expand your capacity, raise your lid, become better at what you do. With that, we will see you next time on the Morning Grind, guys. Have a good day.